All right, so welcome to the Create and Invent podcast. We have a special guest. His name is Chevee Dodd, and we also got a special co-host, Pocket83, who's been on the show before. Now, Chevee, Chevee does many things, as you can see from his show, The Daily Shed. But I think the most amazing thing about it is that he has done 2,192 episodes, and I think that's an important computer number too, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong. So Chevee, how are you doing? How's life in your shed, I should say?
In your world.
Yeah.
How's life in your world?
Yeah, that's what I say. Yeah, I'm great. Thanks for asking. Thanks for having me. Yeah, everything's good over here.
Just to kind of introduce yourself. Now you're, again, you've done over 2,000 episodes of your show, but how would you describe yourself? I think you work for a computer. Is that right?
So I'm my job title says I'm a project manager, but I mostly just do software development, and I manage my own projects. So I've been doing that for 4 or 5 years now. I've had a few careers over the span of 20-something years.
So you're a manager of one. That's like the ideal, I think.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll pick up an extra person on a project or whatever, but.
That's awesome. And you live where do you live? United States, I guess.
I'm in West Virginia. So
West Virginia.
Northern West Virginia, yeah.
Very, very cool. You have a show called The Daily Shed, and from what I can tell, you're basically into making things. The show is not exactly about that. It's kind of about yourself and kind of what you do and just kind of whatever you want to talk about, it seems like. But you've done, as we said, 2,000, well over 2,000 episodes. So I guess just to talk about that, how did you start doing this, and how have you had such follow through on it? I think that's amazing.
So it started, I had 8 years ago. Yeah. I had started, I was watching a lot of other creators on YouTube, and I was trying to get into that space a little bit, and I did some videos of me making some things, and I just found I didn't like that at all. Like, when I get in the flow, moving a camera around and getting shots, it just breaks up the flow, and I don't enjoy that. So I started thinking, like, I spend every day, I'm in the shop every day, why don't I just turn a camera on and have a conversation of some kind? And so that was the initial inspiration, and it also, it was kind of, my kids were moving out with their mom, and I wanted to have some form of myself saved for them for the future, because I've lost family members in my life, and thought it'd be really cool if I had some sort of almost a diary, but also like someday my kids might say, I wonder what my dad thinks about this, and it's probably in here somewhere. They can find it.
Can you imagine what a precious time capsule that would be?
Right? Like,
if just from the point of view of if you were one of my relatives and you were gone, it would be incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of where it came from. In the beginning, I attempted to have like a topic every day, and it was more, I talked more about workshop stuff. I talked about, my hobbies. But over the years, you kind of run out of things to talk about. So I just started talking. I would turn the camera on, regardless of whether I had something to talk about. I would just turn it on and talk. And people started really saying, I like that. Could you do more of that? Like, just talk about whatever. And it just, it never really, quote, took off, as in I don't have a huge subscriber base and a large view count. But the people that come by, they're diehards. And it's just like, we just talk about whatever. And,
But it's incredible that you continue to do it in spite of that.
Yeah.
I have a question. Is there any rhyme or reason to the frequency of your uploads, or do you just wait until some mood strikes you? Because it doesn't seem as though you do it every day.
I do it. I do Monday through Friday, so it's 5 days a week.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, I do it Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. I have for 8 years, 8.5 years. And that was inspired by Rhett and Link's show. They had started Good Mythical Morning just by happenstance. One day they turned the camera on and talked about what they did the previous day, and I was like, that's kind of fun. I could do that, I think. I could fit a 10-minute conversation into my day every day. So Monday.
So just to dig down on the level of craziness here, that's 5 days a week, and you never missed a day.
I have missed days. Yeah, the number 2,192 is a lie. I've probably missed about 6 episodes over the years. So.
Still, that's pretty
That's
good,
not.
though.
That's not like 6 episodes. That's not something to apologize for. That's an amazing amount of consistency.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess you've gone on. Apparently, I think you've gone on cruises, Turks and Caicos. You got your shirt on there.
I pre-record those episodes.
Okay, all right. So that gives you a little leeway, I guess.
I will. If I'm going on vacation, I'll usually try to pick a theme for the week, and I'll do 5 episodes of whatever that theme might be. So I've done weeks about, board games in my collection, or I've done weeks about different types of wood, or like just whatever. And then I'll record 5 episodes. So the people who come by every day, they know, like, oh, he's on vacation this week or whatever.
Do you include a word in every single episode? Because I hate to admit, I have not watched all 2,000.
So the word of the day, that's that, no. Initially, when this all started, I couldn't figure out how to end the show. Like, what do you say at the end? Well, there's got to be something. And I discovered that Google used to have a thing where you could say, tell me a random fact, and it would just give you a random thing. And I used to read that at the end of every show. And then one day that just stopped working. And I started like looking up lists of random facts that I could read, and then I was in a bookstore. In fact, you're sitting on top of the book right now. I was in a bookstore, and I found this book of 1,200 words you should know to sound smart. And I was like, well, that's a good way to close the show. Let's learn a word every day. So actually, today will be the last word of this book. I've finished the book over the last 1,200 episodes.
So what's... Oh, yeah, because I watched the show this morning, and it was zonk.
Yeah.
And I guess the next... I don't know. Can you tell us what the next word
Today's word will be zoomorphic.
Zoomorphic. So what is that? Like an animal, sort of?
Having the form of an animal. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'll finish this book today, and then we're on to something new tomorrow.
Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah.
Or,
I bought a book called 1,000 Plus Little Things Happy, Successful People Do Differently.
So far, I haven't been impressed, Chevee. You haven't even used any big words yet in this interview.
Yeah, you're right.
He hasn't
throw something in, sound smart.
He hasn't zonked you with his knowledge yet?
No. Hey, a question. What are the actual dimensions of the shed? Because you never turn us around.
This is a 1-car garage, and it's probably 25 by 14, maybe, something like that. Maybe 30.
So is it part of your house, or is it a separate shed?
It is actually part of my house. The shed part is also a lie. Someday, in the near future, it'll be an actual building. But for this whole time, it's been in my part of my house.
Yeah. Well, so you're like looking to build like a steel building or something, or what?
Not sure yet. I got remarried last year, and my wife's family is from the Wheeling area, which is about an hour and a half from here. So once my kid graduates high school, we'll probably move up that way. So
okay.
Yes, for the term of this house, I'll probably stay in this space.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. And yeah, I see you. Well, I can't really see it that well, but I see. Well, yeah, I can see you got your Pocket 83 badge there.
Oh yeah.
On the saw, so that's awesome. Yeah. And then you got your Daily Shed thing, and then you got that says Daily Shed. You got some guy with a hat. Who is that supposed to be you, or is that?
I think that was his previous logo, like from an earlier version of the show.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, yeah. Chevee's paused for some reason. Is that for you?
I think he froze up again.
Okay. Well, I paused his upload. He should be.
Sorry.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. I moved you, and then everything went crazy.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. I think it's funny. We've had musical guests on, right? And it seems like their audio is always always terrible for some reason. So, you know, somebody that knows, the more you know about computers, I think the more chance of something going wrong with that.
Yeah, I told
right?
my wife I was going to come down here, which is, you know, in the basement, so it doesn't have the greatest signal. And she's like, "Why don't you go to the kids' room?" And I was like, "Because the audio is terrible up there. I have sound treatment down here."
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, it's fine. It's yeah. I guess that would make sense if you moved it around and the signal got
Yeah.
a bit weaker. So all right. So you've stayed committed. I mean, I guess your thought is it seems like this show almost isn't for the audience. It's for kind of to record yourself. It's for yourself, not so much. I mean, it's for us too, but it's. I mean, I guess would you do it if nobody watched?
I would actually at this point. I think early on there's many times I thought about quitting, but this project has been therapy. Like it's absolutely a amazing therapy to turn the camera on every day, and it's a skill, right? Like I have learned a public speaking skill that I could not have learned without doing speaking, you know, thousands of minutes, whatever. So
Yeah.
I've spent so much time down here just saying what's on my mind that I have developed a speaking skill that makes it very easy for me to give presentations for work or whatever it might be that I didn't have before.
Have you ever heard the expression, you never really learn a subject until you teach it?
I think I've heard you say that.
I've heard
So
I've heard the sentiment before, Pocket. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I've never heard this.
There's a lot to be said for saying something out loud or just kind of fleshing out an idea in real time.
Sure.
One time I asked a professor a question that was kind of, well, beyond the purview of a right here and now sort of answer. And he said, write it out. Write it out. As you write it, you'll answer the question. There's a lot in that. Sometimes you just have to press record and see what happens, and you can be surprised at what develops.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, impromptu is reckless. It's not always perfect, but it can also improve you.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think to your point, it's like, you know, I do, you know, some YouTube videos. I do this and whatever, and it's like I've become a better speaker for sure, and just, you know, that practice is, you know, extremely valuable. I think, you know, Pocket. I guess he could be a radio DJ. I guess, you know, I don't. We still don't know what you look like, but you know,
A face for radio.
face. Got I mean, maybe you have a beautiful face. You know, I don't know. That's you know.
Not bad. My nose was broken from fighting when I was younger, so it's kind of crooked. Do you prepare at all, Jesse? Or Jesse? Chevee.
Not anymore. Well, that's not fair. Sometimes. There are times when an idea pops into my head and I want to be a little bit more eloquent. And so I will, you know, jot down some bullet points to make sure I don't miss things. But for the most part, no. Other than maybe having an idea, I just go for it and see what happens.
How long has it been since you did a build video?
That's a good question. I don't remember what the last thing I uploaded was. It's been quite a while. I think I have some footage of a project that I never cut together. And in fact, over the last year, about this time last year, I stopped kind of trying to document everything because that was my life for a while. It was like Twitter and Instagram and YouTube, and I found that I got much more enjoyment out of just doing things for the sake of doing them.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, like I play board games a lot. I develop board games, and I would be constantly stopping the game to take a picture because I was like, I got to post this. Like, why? Who gives it? Like and I found that I was just not being present, and I was like, why am I doing this exactly? So I've built so much more over the last couple of years that I haven't filmed of anything, and it became I found it was much more rewarding.
Yeah, no, I get that because I do these projects and I feel compelled to record them, and I feel compelled to build things, and I feel compelled to record them. You know, sometimes they make a good YouTube video, sometimes they don't, and it's hard for me to just, you know, just get rid of that. And it's obviously it slows the projects down too. So I don't know what the solution is. I guess your solution is just not to record it. So I guess.
Yeah,
that was my follow-up question to Chevee. What would you prepare heavily if you were to do a build video now?
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Because I think what I learned when I was trying to do build videos was that I was building a project, not making a video. And I think that that's the wrong mindset. Like, if I'm going to do the video, that needs to be the primary focus of the project. Yes. And the whatever I'm making is just the thing. You know, the answer. It's just a product of that project. And so I need to just flip it. And like I've done some. Last year I did a series of board game videos where I was doing reviews that required a lot more preparation, and I've discovered, oh, I really enjoy the video making process. Like, that was really fun. And I'm actually interested in doing it again, and trying to do some more build videos. I'm just not sure what I would, you know, like, so past Sunday morning I built an end table real quick because we needed a couple end tables and I wanted to build a prototype. It took me like 2 hours because it's just pine pocket holes, slap it together, let's see if it fits the space and if we like the dynamics and ergonomics of it before we actually commit to hardwood. And I couldn't have done that in 2 hours and filmed it and had anything interesting come out of that. But if I would have decided that I was going to film it, that would have been a great project for that. Like, look, you could make this in 2 hours. Here's a simple end table, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It seems that over the years, as the standard for what constitutes a good YouTube video, build video that is, the standard has increased over the years. And as it has, it seems as though YouTubers are willing to sacrifice more and more to the end of making a good video, to the point where there's like hardly any project. It's all theatrics now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. No, and it's kind of like, well, maybe I should just not record these things, but then it's like, are you giving up? I don't know. I mean, I guess the other thing is maybe you take a very preliminary recording of the build and you just show off what you made. But you know, YouTube man's 10 minutes, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody likes that. I've found that people don't really like that. They don't like the conceptual approach to understanding how things are built, because I don't think they really plan on ever recreating the projects. They're just looking to be entertained or, entertained.
Yeah, that's very true. You know, like when I watch, say, Jimmy DiResta or somebody like that build something, I'm watching the, you know, intricacies. I'm not really watching the project. I don't care about the project. It means nothing to me. I'm watching like, oh, why is his shop laid out like that? Or why did he choose this tool over that tool? Or why this method and over that method? And I think that's just a product of, you know, I guess being a maker myself. I'm looking for little tips and tricks. I don't really care about the project. That's, you know, Pocket finding your videos was the same thing. Like, here's a guy who's going to break something down. Like, I put golf balls on my tools because they're more ergonomically pleasing, and I would have never considered that in my entire life. And so finding your videos, that's how I found you. Was you did this whole series of I take a problem and I fix it, and that was way more interesting to me than I build a bed. Okay, I can build a bed. I don't need a video for that.
There's a word for this. What is R2D2 as far as a plot device? He's this thing that everybody's chasing.
Oh, is it Deus Ex Machina? How do you pronounce it? Deus Ex
Machina?
No.
Because sometimes he does just pop out with his new device. It's like, oh, that was kind of cheating.
It's on the tip of my tongue. Okay, so the protagonist is chasing this thing, but there's no real reason. It just, the story needs a thing to chase.
That's a MacGuffin.
And so this thing is is a what?
Comic relief, maybe?
MacGuffin.
A MacGuffin, thank you. Thank you. So, yes, the project is a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, it's not important to me because it's incidental. It could be anything. we're working on this because I want to show you the ways in which we're going about solving the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
not everybody appreciates that approach.
Sure.
No, I agree. I mean, some of it's how are we solving this, which would be kind of your videos pocket, but some of the other stuff is, technical entertainment. Like, I think about somebody like Stuff Made Here. His stuff is, it's fantastic. And, do you? I think you get inspiration from that, but you don't learn necessarily. I don't know. I don't watch that many YouTube videos.
Well,
Just
Chevee's
to be
even...
totally honest, but
Sorry, Jeremy, you cut out.
go ahead.
Chevee's even more behind the scenes than that, though, because he'll explain the reasoning for why he's building an end table. He'll tell you that he has a space in his bedroom. That's way more information than I would ever include in a really highly scripted build. But over the years, my builds have become more and more scripted, even on my second channel.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, the interesting thing about your show, Chevee, is it's, like I mean, you kind of said this, but it's about making things, but it's kind of making things adjacent, I guess. You
It
talk about
definitely
it.
is.
Yes.
It's
And I think part of it is I make so many things. Like I'm not a woodworker. I'm not a metal worker. This week I might be making a new board game. This week I might be making a new computer game. This week I'm making an end table. Like it's just whatever. And I'm not interested in being one thing. Like that doesn't interest me at all. I just like kind of chasing my fancy, which is something I used to be ashamed of. And so I do talk about making stuff because I make stuff all the time, but
There's a lot of personalized, personal flavor in your show, too. I mean, you're willing to really explore personal information and emotional states and other things that I would dare not release to the internet. And that's commendable. You're pretty brave for doing that. And it also helps me to attach to you in a sort of parasocial
right.
kind of way, which is creepy, but it's true.
Yeah, there's definitely a fine line between being personable and oversharing, and I've had to walk that line and learn that line over the years. It can be difficult.
In a way, I appreciate it, though.
Thanks.
I would imagine a lot of your viewers do.
Yeah, I think that the people that do come back every day are the people that appreciate that. They appreciate the honesty and the openness, because I feel like there's not a lot of 40-something men talking about, reality. There's a lot of facades, and I don't hide behind one of those. I'm just a person, and I screw up, and sometimes I do good things, and all of it is open. Like, let's talk about that to a degree. I'm going to protect my family. I'm not going to put them out there like that. But me personally, sure. It is what it is.
Vulnerability is tough for men.
It is.
There are expectations, cultural expectations. Well, a lot of that has been changing lately, but I still think it's commendable.
Thank you.
And I would probably introduce more personal stuff if it wasn't for the unpleasant pushback I get from it.
I could see that for sure. I think that if you don't start out that way, then it becomes I don't know, are you just whining?
I get what you mean. If you started that way from the beginning, then the expectation has already been set.
Yeah.
But I started as a pretty dry presenter, so there's no crossing over now.
I think you've given us some like, especially the video about the swimming hole. We got a lot of personal information there that I thought was very I don't want to say revealing, because that's not what I'm trying to say. I appreciated it a lot, and obviously because I live a very similar area and I have a very similar story from my childhood, and it felt very personal and very real and very raw, and I think that was I loved it. You know, and you've done that a few times, I think, over the years. Especially,
Thank you.
Especially when you got the new house, you talked a good bit about, you know, some of that stuff as you walked trails and showed us little creeks. And I thought that was really cool. It was not in your face like I'm a good person and I'm going to tell you all about myself. It was more like you put a little bit of personality into it that was not main channel stuff.
Probably feels pretty familiar to you because you and I kind of live near the same mountain.
Yeah.
Chestnut Ridge is close to both of us.
Yeah.
So you're just at the southern end and I'm at the northern end, so I would imagine Appalachia looks similar from both of our views.
It does. Yeah, your video with the swimming hole was, I feel like I've probably been there. And I've been to a dozen of those swimming holes. And your backyard looks like well, not my backyard, but this area that I live in kind of thing. And yeah, I think that, I think it's important, you know, I don't, here's the line with being vulnerable is, being vulnerable without being whiny or without looking for, I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not begging for help. I'm just being like, I try really hard to say, this isn't a cry. I don't need anybody reaching out and telling me it's going to be okay. This is just, it's okay to be vulnerable and that's it. I don't need anything else from it.
Exactly.
And there are definitely, I would call it almost, you know, psychology has the term covert narcissism, and I think that you can be vulnerable in a narcissistic way that I don't think is healthy for anybody.
And we dare not express weakness on the internet because there are sharks in the water.
That's true.
And once they get blood, it's a feeding frenzy.
That's very true.
So, can you guys see me now?
Yes, I hope we didn't lose
Yes.
We lost Jeremy, but I hope we didn't lose what Chevee and I were talking about.
Yeah, no, I think you guys should. That being said, I don't know what's going on, but maybe we'll take our coffee break now and we'll be back. And I really want to ask Chevee why he posts his actual phone number on the internet. So that's got to be a ruse of some sort. So anyway, we'll be right back and we'll talk then. Jeremy Cook here, and welcome to the coffee break. Today we'd like to give a shout out to our top 5 or so patrons. Timothy Moran, thank you so much for your patronage. Carl as well, thank you. Michael Sizer, Brian Moses, Pat Regan, and Positive Waves. Thank you guys so much for your support. We really appreciate it. You can join us at patreon.com/createinvent, and whatever pledge level you want to give there would be awesome. Also, if you don't want to give monetarily, you can leave a like, comment, subscribe, wherever you're watching this. That's awesome too. That really helps us. So please do that. And thank you so much for watching, and we'll get you back to your show.
I could have a swig of Hidden Valley Ranch Tight Bond 2.
Gross.
That's my new glue bottle.
Oh man. I worked in manufacturing for a while, and it was all about, you got to label your chemicals and stuff. So it's like, like if I see my wife put ibuprofen with something, I'm like, no, you can't mix up your, everything's got to be labeled correctly. I'm like, it's like these things. It's like, oh, these people tell you to do that. It's no big deal. And then, later you're like, oh, I am now that person telling other people that.
No, this is definitely not Hidden Valley Ranch. I would not suggest using it. Speaking of that, I used to, when I was doing build videos, I thought it would be funny because, in movie and TV production, everybody has to clear products. You can't just show products. So I thought it would be amusing to rebrand all the stuff in my shop. So like my Ryobi tools are called myopic tools.
Wow.
Because
my saws are Mancraft.
Yeah, I've seen, and I saw Pocket doing it. Yeah, so most of the tools that I used to have are now just normal. But I used to have my Tight Bond bottle said can't bond.
You should be recording this. This is good stuff.
I am recording. It is. We have not stopped. So, well, do you guys want to go back from the break? It's all kind of
sure.
It's all kind of a ruse anyway. So
it's all over. Yeah.
So, yeah. So, welcome back from the coffee break. We just had some coffee, or maybe some Hidden Valley Ranch, depending on what, Or maybe we didn't have anything. You know,
Easy squeeze.
easy squeeze. Is there something I missed that we need to wrap up, or shall we just go on to the next subject?
No. I think that if we're going to talk about my phone number, it's the same conversation. Being vulnerable, I guess.
Yeah. So if you watch any of Chevee's videos, he puts out a phone number, and you know, you see that, and he's like, oh, it's just like a fake phone number, or a text line or something, but it appears, is that actually your phone number, Chevee?
It is a Google number. It is tied to my phone though, so yes, it'll ring my phone and I can text and whatever. For many, many, many years, I had set it to just be a voicemail. But I also realized that in the beginning, yeah. So in the very early days of the show, I tried to make it like an interactive kind of thing, and I would invite people to call in and leave a message, and I would play the message on the show, and they could ask questions or whatever. And so I got a lot of that. But as the audience kind of turned into something different, that kind of went away, and I had a little soundboard that I built. I don't know where it is, that I used to play noises on and stuff. And then the phone just kind of, it didn't get a whole lot of use. And if you have a Google number, every 6 months it's like, hey, you haven't used your Google number. You needed to use it, or we're going to take the number back. And so at some point I just decided, why not just have it everywhere? Like, if anybody's going to call it, great. And I just unblocked it, and every now and then I'll get a call or I'll get a text, and it'll be interesting conversation or interesting, back and forth with somebody. But for the most part, there's been no weirdness with it whatsoever.
Wow. Because I mean,
Yeah.
it's a strange thing, because I see this. I'm like, Pocket had suggested that I have you on the show, and I was like, well, yeah, why not? And I actually tried to message you on the chat, but I think it probably got filtered out because YouTube does that. It's like,
Yes.
well, I'll give this number a call. Obviously, it's some sort of like fake number. It goes to voice mailbox, whatever. But like 2 minutes later, you're like, oh, sorry, I couldn't answer. I'm at work, and I'm like, you don't have to. This is not something you have to apologize for. I'm the equivalent of a phone solicitor.
So let me say this. There are videos in my... going back to what Pocket and I were talking about, I'm a pretty open book when it comes to myself. I try to protect my family, and there's a line that you have to kind of straddle when it comes to oversharing. But personally, I've had a lifetime of challenges with mental health, and I've talked about it quite a bit. And some of my top videos have been about that. Some videos that just regularly get comments have been about that struggle. And I've often said on my videos, as well as in forum posts, like if anybody ever needs to talk about this stuff, please reach out, because I know what it's like to not have somebody to talk to. And yeah, that's a real number. Like, it's honestly, I would rather have to deal with a random jerk calling the number, and when somebody needs help, I'm here. Like, I've had that happen.
Awesome. That's really admirable.
I've had, honestly, Instagram is the place that most people message me, and I find it's a lot of, I get a pretty decent number of people from Middle Eastern or Indian territories that reach out to me because they really don't have a culture that supports men having feelings. And
Wow.
and they'll reach out and ask for help, and I've tried to give them what I can from a million miles across the globe.
Yeah.
But when I tell somebody I'm here, I'm dead serious. Like, it's not me looking for praise or looking for, oh, you're such a... No, it's literally like, if you need somebody and you're not willing to call the helplines and you want to talk to an actual person who's been through it, I'm here. Like, I'll always be here. And so it's important to me.
That marks a distinct difference in our presentations. Not that I'm also willing to help, and I have been a YouTube comment psychiatrist plenty of times, and I will go out of my way. I will spend the day writing exchanges to people who express those types of problems. But I present myself as somebody who's psychologically stable. I leave it to the discerning viewer, listener, to decide to what degree I'm actually psychologically stable. But I would not air my dirty psychological laundry on the internet as Chevee does.
I think
impressive.
these days I feel also psychologically stable. It
comes with age, doesn't it?
It's age, and there's been a lot of work, and I've tried to document that over the last 8 years, because a lot of that growth has come post divorce. You know, my kids leaving, and I was really had to reevaluate myself, and I've tried to be as honest about that as I can be. But I also get there's a person, I don't know the person's name, I've never asked, that will ask me. I'll get random messages about, hey, I'm trying to repair this thing. Do you think this is a good approach? So I also, you know, I've also become, the tech line,
troubleshooter,
the workshop line.
That's
sure.
That's interesting. It's such a wide range. I mean, it seems like you have a wide range of interests. And Pocket and I were talking about this. It's like, the people we have on the show, and it's like there's some common denominator, and I was trying to get my fingers on it, but it's people who just have just this thirst for knowledge, whether it's
diverse range of interests. It's the eternal golden braid.
Yeah, I definitely, I was the kid that tore the VCR apart because I could fix it, and I did fix it. It's my whole life has been a quest for knowledge, for, information, for whatever you want to call it. It's and my own internal workings are part of that quest, right? Like, why is this happening? Why am I feeling this way? Whatever. And there's a million schools of thought on that, but it's, I've tried to document it and leave it open for people to reach out, and same with workshop stuff. Like, let's go. What are we going to talk about?
It's funny the expectations that viewers have, though. I made a video about repairing a certain model of keyboard, and then I get all these messages about how to repair other models of keyboards. I have no idea. I don't know where the screws are located on that one. I never took that one apart. So viewers expect that you'll have sort of lateral expertise, and sometimes because of the high expectation, you end up becoming a sort of de facto expert on a subject that you never really knew anything about at first.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Even, I'm nowhere near the level you are at Pocket as far as subscribers and stuff, but even I got a couple of videos that do whatever decently well, and people ask me, the one's about putting a rechargeable battery in Roku remote, well, how do you do it with this? I'm like, I don't know. I just did it with this one and just put it up there, and I have no idea.
Yeah.
Be careful presenting yourself to the world as a know-it-all, because some people will actually think you know everything.
I've done a few videos on fixing my car. I was a certified Chrysler technician for about 5 years, and so I've done some videos on that. And so I get car questions. Like, sure, I know about cars, but I can't tell you how to do what I just did on your car. I've not worked on your car before. Same thing.
So, did they describe the sound it makes in the comments by typing it out? It's like a tink, tink, tink sound.
But not really...
No.
But only sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you this before we get off the phone subject too much. What's been the most interesting call that you've gotten, or meaningful, or whatever? What's a highlight with that, or a low light? That'd be interesting too.
So that's a hard. I'm gonna pick a mother called me because this is just a personal, made me feel good moment, not necessarily anything deep or important. About 12 years ago, I had a game get published by a company called GameRate. They're a pretty big mass market publisher. They published this game, this silly little pirate game that I did. And about 4 or 5 years ago, it was before the before the COVID. A lady called me.
Now this is a board game, correct, or a computer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a board game. She called me because her son was having a pirate-themed birthday party, and they had found out about my game, but it wasn't for sale anymore, and they really wanted it. And,
Is this Me Booty?
No, this is called Scallywags.
Oh, you have multiple pirate-themed
Yeah,
games?
so actually, Me Booty is the card game version of Scallywags. So Scallywags involved this... Scallywags started... anyway, that's a whole side story. Me Booty is the successor, I guess, what I would call the successor to Scallywags. And so she called me asking me if there was any way she could get it, and I said sure. And so I sent her some, and that was just one of those really like rewarding moments that this game that I thought was forgotten because it didn't sell great and it just kind of disappeared. People still were interested in it.
Huh.
Well, how many games have you made now?
Oh my. I have no idea.
How many have you legitimately published?
I self-published probably 7 or 8. And then there's products that I work for a Polish board game publisher on the side, and I've worked on various parts of our products over the years, so I don't even have an account there. But my own personal stuff, I've self-published, maybe 8.
How do you even self-publish a board game? That's
so there are print-on-demand manufacturers that you can use. Some people will literally go the route of going to a print shop and then spray mounting, paper to cardboard and cutting it out. I've used print-on-demand almost exclusively. I did a game on Kickstarter where I had another company kind of laser cut some stuff for me that I used. So just kind of hand assembled.
so it's very similar to how you self-publish a book. Same sort of process.
Yeah.
Huh.
Is there a certain game that you consider your finest moment, your masterpiece, or your favorite?
It's not out yet.
Oh. Well, which one should listeners go buy?
If they can find Me Booty, that's probably my favorite little silly card game that I've done. It is a silly little game. I think that it's still available through the Game Crafter, which is one of those print-on-demand services. I'm currently in the process of thinking about redoing it with a couple of other games and having like a little... I was thinking about calling it like the Pirate Party Pack or something, like do a little pack of 3 pirate games. I might do that next year. I haven't decided yet.
So is there money in this? I mean, have you made good money or any money or?
There is small amounts of money in this. Yes.
Yes, I will say that small amounts.
Small amounts.
This is something that Chevee and I share in common, but just like we live on opposite ends of Chestnut Hill, we also are on opposite ends of the game spectrum.
Yeah.
Chevee makes games that are more, how would you describe them?
Thematic, I guess.
And mine are more abstract.
Abstract.
Right. So I played your buddy, your what's it even called? The hexagon game. I don't know. Isopath. Yeah. It's a fun game, but it's very open-ended for sure.
Yeah.
So, but this is kind of along the lines of the conversation we didn't get to finish. Chevee and I have a kind of strange appreciation for one another. There's this parasocial relationship that's mutual. So Chevee watches my show, I watch his, and neither of us have ever communicated in person. Jeremy and I are different because we've communicated on the phone plenty of times, even though Jeremy has a show that I watch. So it's kind of neat to have a parasocial relationship that ends up being, oh my goodness, he's a real person on my screen now and he's responding to my questions.
Well,
yeah, for sure.
I thought a parasocial relationship was one way. I didn't know it. It's a whole new thing with a double.
It is, but it was one way until today when we actually communicated.
But it's like half duplex now it's full duplex.
Oh
yeah.
So there's no response.
Well, I mean, you've still got can you have a parasocial relationship both ways? It's like you've got two channels. I don't know. You get what I'm saying here? I don't know.
I do get what you're saying.
Yeah. That's why it's bizarre. But
I think it switches sides. Maybe that's it. Because like I'll watch a Pocket video and then I'll post a comment, and then it's parasocial my way for a while until Pocket comes and comments on one of my videos, and it switches back.
So this is a real phenomenon, and it hit me hard, and I'll express a moment of vulnerability if we have time.
Sure.
Oh my.
Are you going to show us your face, Pocket? Is that...
No, it won't help your rating.
I mean, I don't really even want to say. I feel like at this point I don't know. That'd be kind of weird.
I worked on a team of 4 people years ago, and we worked on a game, and we became close friends over the course of years. And I never found out what any of them looked like, and they didn't know what I looked like. But anyways, back to the parasocial thing. I started to watch this YouTuber, and he was brilliant and quirky and just the right variety of weirdness for me to really become captivated by his content. And he made videos about dog training, and the guy held a degree in psychology, so it was really, science-based as far as I'll extend psychology as a hard science. It is kind of scientific in his approach to training dogs, and he did a really good job, and we exchanged a couple messages, and then one day he just stopped sending me messages. A few years went on, and I ended up getting a dog, and I started using his methods to train my dog. My dog now recognizes more than 100 commands. It's incredible how well his approach works. So, years had passed, and I find out that he died. It hit me hard. Like, bizarre hard. Like, I felt as though somebody I really knew died. And that was the first time I became familiar with the phenomenon known as parasocial relationship. You can actually develop a real-life attachment to somebody you've never met before. Be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully none of us will die.
I think there's definitely a line. I have the problem of I've never been starstruck, and I've met my heroes, and they're just people. There is, through meeting my heroes, I have just there are people who don't know that they are, I guess, addicted to I guess that's what a parasocial relationship really is. It's almost like an addiction to somebody, and it can be a scary thing to witness. I've witnessed it firsthand, and it's odd.
So you don't feel as though you become fixated on people or a personality the way most people do?
I don't know what it is. I've never really. Somebody asked me. I did an episode a few months back about who my heroes are, and it's like I can't name one. Like to say I've met my heroes is true. I've met people that I think are really awesome people, but I don't really know that I have people that I revere in a way that makes it parasocial like that. I mean,
Well, who are these people you met? I'm curious now.
Just musical artists, YouTube people, nobody that anybody else would consider.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't hold a reverence for celebrity or anything like that. I never have.
You're not a Swiftie or
No. Okay. No.
Well, be careful meeting celebrities in general. It's best to just not even burst that mysterious bubble, because I met Lieutenant Commander Data, and he was a jerk. And I met Geordi La Forge, and he's just a beautiful human being. He didn't have the visor on, though. That kind of threw me off.
Oh yeah, no, you guys are about the right age. You ever like get your mom's headband and pretend you were the,
Oh, sure.
Is that like a thing?
Sure,
No,
it was definitely a
no,
thing.
Jeremy.
It was
No,
definitely
I
a
did
thing.
not do that. Only you.
No, I heard somebody else talk about like, but I did that too, and that was you're playing Star Trek, you get the visor on, and that's.
I think I remember me and my friends making our own visors out of like cardboard and like folding up a piece of paper and then unfolding it so it was that pattern.
Oh,
I can remember doing that.
Wait. You guys actually really liked Star Trek as kids?
No,
Okay.
no, I did
Me
not.
neither.
I don't remember. I mean, I remember it being a thing. I don't think I watched it that much, except
Yeah,
for
It was too slow.
except for the old ones, the old reruns.
Yeah, I
my
watched those.
parents didn't have cable, so that came on at like 4 o'clock. So I was watching that, and there were only like 30 episodes, so I got to know them pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay, I have an important question though for Chevee. This is a serious one.
Okay, I'll get serious.
You ready?
Let's go.
How many T-shirts do you own?
I have 3 drawers in my dresser. No, 2 drawers now. I've reduced, dedicated to T-shirts. I would say I probably have at least 50.
Nice.
Because I organized them. the like. Was it Steve Jobs that only wore the black turtlenecks because that was one less decision he had to make each day
Yes,
because
right.
you only have so many decisions? I don't necessarily follow that script, but I do have. I always take the frontmost T-shirt from the right side of the drawer, and so I just when that column is empty, I shift them all over, and then anyway. It's a
Yeah,
thing.
no, that's to many people that'll make to a few people that are watching this that'll make a lot of sense, and to many people that'll seem a little strange.
Yeah.
Well, I have object attachment. It should be evident if you've watched my content. I just have object attachment. I have knickknacks everywhere, things that I love, things that I find beautiful. So naturally, all my old T-shirts, I can't throw them away, even though they're from the 90s and have holes in them. So I stuffed them all into a punching bag. And there they hang in my basement now. At least I have them.
Okay.
Interesting.
So,
Huh.
well,
I usually turn them into rags.
yeah. Me too. Well, listen, we've been talking for a while. Is there anything you want to put out there, especially Chevee, that we haven't talked about yet?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not that I can think of.
Now, what about other thing we kind of try to sometimes end the show with is what are you guys working on? So what's your latest project, Chevee? Anything interesting?
I have an ongoing need to finish my flooring project that we started last year. That's one of those things that just persists. No, I just finished building a prototype end table, and I now need to work on actually getting the wood and making the finished version of those. I have a kitchen island that I need to build, a buffet table, and a board game table. So those are the 4
Nice.
major projects coming up.
Nice.
And after this conversation, I think that definitely the board game table, I think I would film that. I think that might be a project video because I think I can do it in an interesting way that other people haven't.
Well, that's
Haven't
awesome.
tried yet.
That'd be awesome if we inspired something. Even if you don't, though, most likely on your channel, on the Daily Shed, most likely you'll have like you'll have it out there to see or something. That's a lot
I'll at
of
least show
time.
pictures for sure.
Yeah. So
I this past actually when I built the end tables, I posted them to Instagram, which I hadn't done a project picture on Instagram for like 6 months, and it felt good to be like, here's a process and here's a picture of the finished product, and so yeah, I think if nothing else, there'll be some Instagram pictures and a mention or an episode about whatever the project is. But I think I will film some stuff coming up just because I do enjoy making content videos. My videos are turn the camera on, talk, turn the camera off. There's almost no editing. I don't edit out ums and ahs or breaths or anything like that. It's just chop the front, chop the end, stick on the tags, I'm done.
that sounds awesome. Well, you do a great job with that. It's pretty. You're a great
Thank
presenter at this point, but I guess after 2,193 episodes, You figure things out.
You get there. You get there. That's part of it. So to finish off with that, part of the reason that I have done it this long is because that's all it is. If it was any more than that, there's no way I could maintain 5 days a week putting a 15-minute video up. I just couldn't do it. I had to make the process as streamlined as I could possibly make it. There's no audio syncing. It's all in camera, one take. Let's go. Cut, paste, done.
Makes
Otherwise,
sense.
I would never be able to do it.
It seems like you've got a good setup for it at this point. So,
I have a question for all three of us.
Okay.
I would like to hear both of your opinions. If you had to rate from 1 to 10, what is your stress level when you film during a build video? Because mine is about a 9.8.
I'm like,
I hate it.
like a 5. I'm not that stressed out. I mean,
I'm probably around a 7.
Okay.
7. You find it pretty stressful too, then.
But I mean, you could just cut it out if you don't do it correctly. I think.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Is if you don't then you're just like jump cutting to some future where a bunch of stuff got done and you didn't film it right, or the camera shut off or whatever. And doing reenactment shots, I've had to do those sometimes. It's just like, this is stupid. I don't want to do this.
Jeremy, you said you can just cut it out if you aren't happy with it. But the problem is, this is why it's stressful to me. It feels as though I'll break or sacrifice or destroy anything for the sake of the video because, like we said, it's a MacGuffin. The project is a MacGuffin. I'll make another one to get the shot that I want. And sometimes I do, and that becomes stressful.
That makes sense.
That's interesting.
Well,
I think when I do a project video, I learned from watching Jimmy Dresta years ago that you only film enough foot coverage to. It's not like, don't leave the camera run. There shouldn't be a big editing process. Turn the camera on, do the shot, turn it off, done. Move on with your life. And unfortunately, if I miss something, it's lost. Like, there's no way to, because there's no camera running to make sure that I didn't, I forgot to press the shutter button. And I'm one of those people that when I get in the zone, I forget to press the button. I forget to turn the mic on. I forget to do the thing. And then now it's all lost.
Yeah, that happens.
So that's why my stress is up a little bit.
See, for me, being in the zone is being 100% cognizant of the camera, the tool, the everything.
Well, and I think that's where I need to flip. Like I said before, I used to build projects and try to film them. That's the opposite. I need to film something, and it just happens to be that I'm building a project. And then I will be cognizant of the filming part.
DeResta had a shirt, and I love this. This is a brilliant quote. He wore a shirt or something, I think, and it said, "If it looks straight, it is straight."
Yeah.
Words to live by.
Well, listen, Pocket, are you working on anything cool you want to talk about, or is it?
It's not interesting. I've been working for days on a bookshelf that goes from floor to ceiling, a built-in bookshelf.
Okay, well, it could be fun.
That's interesting.
Good to know you're keeping busy.
The books were literally stacked 2 feet high on top of the bookshelf, so we outgrew it, and we don't want to get rid of them. I don't e-read. I like a paper book, and so does my wife. What was that look for?
I became an e-reader, and
oh no,
yeah, I like it too. It's just too convenient.
I got a e-reader that I can write on, and so I'm no longer carrying a book and a notebook. They're all the same thing, and so it's like reduced my carry load, and I appreciate that a lot.
Nice.
E-readers. I didn't know I was doing a podcast with a couple of e-readers.
Hey, you know, sometimes it's good though, because maybe a book doesn't intimidate you when you pick it up, but then you start reading it and it's like, oh, this better. That's a whole nother subject. But
I did just read a physical book last week, so I'm not always an e-reader.
Okay, I know you want to close, Jeremy, but I have one more thing.
Sure.
Always one more thing. Always one more thing. So the next book that we were supposed to read for the class was Middlemarch. And the professor said, I want you to take the book out and put it on the desk in front of you. And everybody did in the class, and we had a moment of silence for about 10 seconds as we all stared at Middlemarch, and she said, I want you to recognize and absorb the weight, the heft of this book. and I never forgot it. It's the biggest book I ever read.
See, I don't know what the biggest book I've ever read is. I read you'd read one of the I read all the Expanse books, but then I went to one of my cousin's apartment, and her husband has it out on her nightstand, and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, wow, I read that book. I'm pretty impressed with myself. I had no idea it was such a big book. So,
like Middlemarch, you can stop a door with that.
You definitely could.
A good book, though. Masterpiece.
Middlemarch. I haven't read that one, so
I don't know if I can recommend it.
Yeah, well, I think I told you, Pocket. I started reading. What's the name of that? David Foster Wallace. Oh, Infinite Jest, and I pretty much just started it, and I didn't get through that one. So
Yeah, we've been talking about this. This has been an ongoing conversation. Chevee, have you ever read Wallace?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh my, he's my favorite.
yeah, I would recommend it, especially if you like cruises. Maybe a fun thing I'll never do again. Is that what it's?
A supposedly fun
Yeah,
thing.
that's a
Okay.
He's a good essayist. Although I don't know if I can recommend his only book of his I've tried to read was just too dense, I think.
Yeah, they're way too big and daunting, but the essays are lovely, though.
I do like essays.
Yes, he's a fantastic essayist. So, yeah.
Are we signing off now?
Well, I figured, it's the first time we had Pocket on. I think it was our longest podcast. So we've had to. I don't know. I just had to be cognizant of my time.
Tone him down. We have to restrain him. I'll go forever. I enjoy talking, especially to people like you. It's a pleasure. It's a privilege to be in between a couple of personalities like you guys.
Well,
thank you. And likewise, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and pleasure to talk to you, Chevee. Hopefully, maybe we could do it again sometime in the future.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, see you later.
Bye. We had like a sensitive man moment.
Yeah, it was a little moment there.
Nobody's running the show at this point.